Hello everyone, my name is Webweaver. Welcome back to another episode of It's Look Who It Is. So, we have to figure out what the hell is going on over here. We got any places over here we can cleanse? Are we really gonna climb all the way up there? I mean, there's more stuff to do. There are more things to find, more stuff to, Now, I would like a medallion, please. If it please you. Just only if you wish. Only if you wish to place a medallion in my path will I, feel like I need one. But, you know, we can just quickly, like, schmoove on over here. I think it was over... I mean, obviously, you know, we have to climb all the way up. But there is a It's Look Who It Is right over here. Which, where is it? Oh, it's actually really far away. So what we would rather do is go up here first. And then we can go along the mountain range. Understood. I wonder how we're supposed to get up here. You know, I didn't really, you know? We do have the technology, indeed, to climb this mountain. The fast bow shots. For a second there, I almost thought that that shot that we just took was so fast that it didn't even let it charge up, but it's basically instantaneous. We can just tap it the moment we see it, like it's on site. Reach the observatory, achievement unlocked. Okay. Oh, that's pretty. Is this place still, condensed with the aura of evil? Perhaps. I think we got it. I think we got it. Excellent. Now, that's just trying to get our another jump from the bear. Oh. Me when the storm is approaching? That is pretty ominous. Let's check the bottom here, just in case we missed something. I don't think we did, but there might be, like, lore or something? Really? That's actually kind of surprising if this entire room just exists to get us up there. But, you know, I guess it does. All right, we have a clear goal in mind, and by that I mean we gotta get over there before the storm. The storm is closing in on us. We gotta get to the center before our opponents do to get that, so we can get storm advantage, so that we can get that #1 victory royale. You ever think about that? When is the Pathless Fortnite crossover? Oh, Fortnite is crazy. I haven't played it in a long time. Like, I used to be pretty, like... We used to have a Fortnite arc going, where that was sort of like our, we don't have anything to play, we're all bored game. We just turn on Fortnite for like an hour and a half, and then just play it. And then that's just sort of like what we do that night. And then sometimes the Fortnite sessions go on ungodly amounts of time for no reason, and everybody is just sort of left in awful remiss. Because it's like, I forgot that you can't run while you're in spirit mode. It's just right up there, right? Correct. That's the evil, malicious tower that we've for some reason never seen before. Even though I thought we already went up all these mountains, but... Oh no, we went up all the way over there. That's crazy. I didn't even think about how, like, long this mountain range was. That's pretty cool. But you ever have those moments where you're just playing, like, a video game with your friends for, like, nobody knows why. You've played it for, like, 6 hours, and it's, like, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., the sun is rising. Nobody knows why you did this. It just sort of happened. Hopefully it happened on the weekend. Or else somebody's gonna be like, oh shit, I have to go to work. And then you're like, oh, frick. What did we do? You wanna run this by me again? What are we doing here? I wasn't aware shooting 2 things with fire was, good enough for a reward, but maybe the reward was coming up here. All the statues are sitting there, so... Alright, down we go. Prepare for Titanfall? ODST, Helldiver inbound. Moonbow and Sunsword are the 2 most powerful weapons to ever draw blood in the realm of man. The only match for one of these armaments is its sister. Ah, the Godslayer probably has the Sunsword. Or maybe that's the Sunsword over there. I mean, we did just... This is the legendary blade, the Sunsword. Or maybe not. Okay. Are we supposed to do something here? Do we have to come back when it's day? Or is there something that we have to do out here first? Well, now you got me curious. You can't just say, here's the Sun Sword, one of the most powerful weapons ever devised, and the only way to stop it is with the Moonbow. Now, granted, the Moonbow seems to be much more up my alleyway here, but, I mean, if we gotta kill a god, we gotta kill a god. If we gotta kill a god slayer, we gotta kill a god slayer. You know what I'm saying? Oh. Wonder what this does. Ah, yeah, we should probably, check this out. What a blessing it is to have a purpose. So long I wandered aimless, searching, never knowing the world was set up against me. The Pathfinder taught me otherwise. I am so grateful his path crossed mine. The one true path is a parabola. The first half of my journey ends here. The second half commences on the new world. Oh, it's a death pact. I do not wish to do this. I am not ready. The Pathfinder must not need all of our blood. He could surely get by without mine. But if I leave, he will find me, and he will take his blood then. I love Nimue. I worshipped her for many years, and she was kind. But she stands in the way of the one true path. I wish there was another way. Homies, I don't know if you're in the... I know the Godslayer needs the power he draws from our sacrifices, and I know that our cause is just. It only seems like his followers always seem to sacrifice to the leaders. If only it was the opposite way. Hell yeah, brother! My life's greatest joy has been supporting the Pathfinder. If this game was crowdfunded, this would be like a... What a gift it is to know that my death will carry that forward. when your employees are overworked and die at their desk. No! I am bound to him and him to me forever. My time following the Pathfinder, me following Perna on Twitter, was not so long by my old standards, but I do not remember who I was before I joined him, whoever I once was. I do not miss my old self. I have found my destiny. Og, my blade is dull. I killed so many men for the Pathfinder. I robbing an ATM so that you could buy Pathfinder, and it's a robbery gone wrong. The ATM is like is like inside a building or something. It must have been worth it. That's so true. That's so true. Alright, Yu-Gi-Oh card. With this mask and this sword, I now have the power I need to create a new realm. But first, the world must end, and one cannot end a world whose gods still live. You have long known me as the Pathfinder. That can no longer be my title. I must now become a god slayer. There will be pain, great pain, but it will be worth it. You have given me your time, your sweat, and your belief, but now I must ask for your blood. This mask and this sword make me godly, but they do not make me stronger than the tall ones. If you sacrifice yourselves in my name, you will give me the power I need to rise high above these gods of chaos. You will give me the strength I require to become the God Slayer. So lay yourselves down upon this holy ground and close your eyes. When you open them again, you will do so on the one true path. So basically, this guy's using the Sunblade, and we need to get the Moonbow. My friends, I owe you everything. When I was imprisoned, you freed me. When I was besieged by the ignorant old guard, you fought with me. When I needed to pass deadly trials to gain the Mask of the Ancients, you helped me forward. And now when I required entry to the Spirit Realm to acquire the Sun Sword, you cleared me a path. It is time that I return that in kind. I must deliver us to the one true path, but to do that, I must tell you what I saw when I wore the Mask of the Ancients. When I saw, as the Tall Ones see, I saw the terrible chaos of this world. It is born of chaos, forged of it, ruled by fickle gods of it. I swore that I would find you a path, but the mask revealed that this world has none. So we have no choice but to remake it. This world must end, and a new one must be born in its place. This is just Madoka Magica, except not. So, homie got the sword, and we need to get the bow. That's the only way that this is gonna go down. Because our bow was doing, you know, two things. Jack and shit. So we're gonna have to figure out, I'm surprised we got an achievement for going to the observatory, but we didn't get an achievement for going here. This seems like a pretty relevant place, not gonna lie. Oh, my controller? Controller moment? I think we just gotta go for it, yeah? Like, there's probably some other places, but... Like, is there something down there, maybe? Oh, look at that. There's something down there. Oh, there's something over there, too. Delightful. There's, like, two things. There are perhaps multiple things. Maybe we could get these first. A little treat never hurt anybody. Well, actually, that's not true. Little treats have been known to cause insane amounts of... Yo, what up? What do we need to do? We have to light the fire. Ow. Alright, I see that way over there. Our arrow's not even gonna reach over there. I've spent many years praying to the great Kumo, but he will not bestow his blessings and warm the plateau. If we must sacrifice to sorrow to bring back our warmth, then that is what we must do. The God Slayer has truly tested our faith. The cold has cured Kumo of his generosity, but it has not cured his jealousy. I have never seen such rage. O great sorrow, hear our prayer. We hereby dedicate this blood sacrifice to you and hope that you will return our summer and bring warmth back to this land. Oh no, Kumo is here. Forgive us, Kumo. Great Kumo's benevolence is matched only by his wrath. He is a good friend to those who deserve it, where to those who do not. These gods kind of suck, not gonna lie. Like, your winter bear god does nothing, and you're all freezing to death, and it sucks. Hold on, I meant to, you know. How about, nope. See, that's blocking there. Where do we go with this? Is there any, like... Like, I feel like we can definitely... Oh, maybe we can make that. Like, I feel like we can make this shot, too, but for some reason we can't. But... Fair enough, fair enough. We can just go over here real quick. Don't mind me. Nice shot. Like, also, don't worship a young god who is only sometimes benevolent. Right? Like, oh yeah, you know, if you catch him in a good mood, he's a great god to worship. But if you don't catch him in a great mood, I don't know, he'll kill you. And it's like, I don't mean to be rude, but if one of your siblings is the lava lizard, maybe, and if your people want warmth, oh sorry, controller skill issues, sorry. Funny DualShock wired moment, real. But like, I don't know, maybe don't be mean. Oh, we don't even have to go up there, that's right. We can just walk away the moment we free it. But like, maybe if you are a bear that's fine with hibernation, okay? And then a winter storm comes up that's like killing all of your followers. There it is, that's where we're going. There's also apparently something right there. But I feel like we've been over there already. Like, I want to go this way. Maybe we missed something over there, and it's just like, hey, there's one thing that you missed here. But I see that glow in the distance. Being led into the abyss by, like, a freaking anglerfish or something, but... I see that medallion. And, you know, it's like a devastating winter comes in, and you don't care about it, because, like, you're fine with the winter, you can just hibernate. But your people aren't fine, your people are freezing to death, and they're really scared, and they want some salvation. I could understand if they were praying to, I don't know, the God Slayer for like, summer. That would be pretty rude. I could see, like, hey, that's pretty messed up, man. But if they're, like, praying to, like, your sibling? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? What would your mom think? You just, like, killed a bunch of innocent people. Because why? For what reason? Because, I don't know, you're petty about how they, you know, they liked... Can we get an angle here? I think we have to go the other way. Like, I don't know, call me crazy, but if I'm worshipping a god, I'd probably want to worship one that's, like, just kind of nice, maybe a little humble. One that doesn't massacre their followers for praying to their sibling god. Like, it's not even like, okay, the God Slayer, you know? It's not even like that. It's like you're jealous of your, like, literally your sibling. You know, maybe like the God Slayer, we do not have to hand it to the evil villain who is going to kill everyone and destroy the world, like they're a Final Fantasy villain to, you know, remake the world in their image, you know? A certain somebody always told me that, you know, we would no longer have wings and we gotta walk now, you know what I mean? But, like, you do not have to hand it to the crazy villain. But I can see why some, like, random mook, some random goon, like we're talking about, like, a Batman thug, like some random guy could be like, yeah, you know, maybe this God Slayer has a few good points. You do not have to hand it to the God Slayer. You do not have to do that. Oh, yo, lore, let's go. The Pathfinder's forces have breached the Sword Shrine. Nothing good can come from this. No man should have this much power. The one true path cannot be worth the destruction this will bring. Like, I don't know. It's like, would you destroy the entire world so that you could, like, make a better one? Like, you gotta kill every single person on the planet to do that. Like, in this weird, like, crazy hypothetical, right? Oh, we got a long ways to go. Let's take the highway. I think we made the music mad. Oh, yo, wait, what's going on over here with this, like, volcano-looking area? Emanating the smoke of death? There's something cool over here. Hold on. What is this? Ooh, what is this, chat? Is this the boss fight arena? This is crazy. I don't want to be locked in here with a bear. Are you insane? Is this the entrance to a dungeon? Also, no offense, if you don't want to freeze to death in the winter, just go next to the lava pit. There is no medallion here whatsoever. And this has chains. Like, why would we... Something tells me that in the boss fight we're gonna lose the bird. Hey, you mind if I get some, like... You don't mind, right? Oh, apparently this is an area where we have not cleansed the evil. Oh, you know what? Fair enough. I don't think we've actually been over here. Because I thought this was that one area that we've, like, ran to multiple times in the beginning, but... I don't think it is now, upon closer inspection. The music's getting a little ominous, but we have some time. Now, do we have enough time for me to solve a puzzle? Don't know. So we're missing that one, and it's frozen. So we have to unfreeze it and then get something on the platform. So, right off the bat... Let's get the lore. I was a monk. What did I know of blacksmithing? I labored for the Godslayer. I crafted armor and weapons. I felt adequate in my new role until I attempted to melt down this zinc. I mean... You know, many people are saying this. I actually don't know much about metallurgy. I don't know why zinc would be a particularly nasty, a devious lick, if you will. Can we aim it down like this? Like, I'm wondering if we need to unfreeze it first, or if we can, Yeah, we need to unfreeze it first. So where can we aim this fire? We cannot aim it very well. Oh, this goes back here. Makes a little bit more sense. And then probably about here, right? Because the goal is to bounce it off the mirrors. I don't know if that'll be good enough. Good enough for the game, good enough for me. Now just move this out of the way if you don't mind. Bada bing, bada boom. It's time for bird up. Now, if you don't mind putting this dang old thing right here. Also, I just had, like, the worst thought imaginable, or, like, the most cursed thought imaginable. I haven't made any, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty ignorant of birds in general, so that's probably why I haven't done it. And I'm pretty sure this is an eagle. But, like, that's never stopped me before. I'm surprised I haven't made a hawk to a joke. And listen, I know, you can groan at that. That's fine. For me, I used to think that, like, okay, how do I feel about hawk to a? I probably made like a hawk to a joke at some point, but here's the thing. Do I think hawk to a is the most, you know, intellectual divine comedy that's like, you know, this is peak? No, not really. I think it's just kind of a silly saying that somebody said on a live interview or whatever. I actually haven't even seen the original to this day, which I think is really funny. But I think the reaction to it, both the positive reaction and the negative reaction, is very overblown. Because, like, can you believe that that person said one thing that is not even an original thing, by the way? Shoutouts to that guy on Twitter who posted that, like, 12 years ago. But, like, you know, they just said one thing on a live interview, or, like, a live show, and then now they have the third most successful podcast in the United States. Probably not forever, but, like, even for a little bit, that's still enough to live your whole life for it, you know? What's, oh, we gotta shoot the arrows down. You got it. Oh, hold on. A little higher. We did it. There's a tower right there. Now, I do think an important question to ask on where you stand on Haktua is if you could say one dumb thing and then be monetarily set for life and live like... And not even like an offensive thing, right? Like if Haktua was like an offensive or a thing or like a slur, people, it would get like called out way earlier because of how popular it is, right? It's just a silly, stupid phrase that somebody said on a on like a live interview thing, right? So it's like you're not even saying anything bad. You're saying something that's like annoying at worst, right? Annoying and obnoxious at worst. Like the worst interpretation is something that's annoying and obnoxious, and then, you know, a better a kinder interpretation, not necessarily a better interpretation, but like a kinder interpretation would be like, you know, oh, there's more things to do here. Like a kinder interpretation would be like, it's just like a little bit silly, you know? If you say one thing that is at best silly, at worst annoying and obnoxious, you say one thing like that, and you are financially set for life. You live the life of a millionaire, right? Like you're, well, probably not the life of a millionaire, but like you're wealthy, you know? You're wealthy, you're taken care of, you don't have to worry about money anymore as long as you play your cards right, you know? Perfect. I will get this. Or maybe I won't. You know what? I've been thinking about it. arbitrarily so. I think I've decided that I'm not gonna get it. Yeah, I think I've decided I'm not gonna get it, actually. You know, Smokey the Bear said that only I could prevent forest fires, and I didn't listen. I recklessly shot off fire arrows into the distance without any care or really any thought put into my actions, and, you know, I'm sorry. It's my bad. I didn't really understand what I was doing. Now, as I learned last time, the entire eye is a body. Now, we want to stick as close as possible to these trees. I also have no idea where the... Okay, there he is. Oh! Be chill, be chill, be chill, be cool, be cool, be cool. Oh, hey, it's the bird. Survived 3 storm encounters unscathed. Really damning it's taken me that long. But, like, here's the thing, right? If I could say one silly thing, and I've said a lot of silly things on many of these episodes for several years at this point, if I could say one silly thing and then be financially set for life, like, for real. I feel like you can do this. I mean, kind of. You've kind of done it. I don't know how I feel about that, but I've kind of done it. Maybe this is a better place to get the trick shot? No, not at all. I'm pretty sure this is how you do it. But there's also that in the way distance. I don't know if that works as well. That might work. Holy crap, it does. Okay. So I just have to get across without leaving the spirit world. Wait. Did I... What did I do? I feel like I did it wrong. Maybe there's another puzzle with the fire, and it's just like, I suppose maybe? But like, here's the thing. I feel like a lot of people want to be dignified about the way that they make their money, and I think that's perfectly fair, and like, I don't know if it's logical, but I feel like it's perfectly valid, right? We all want to feel good about how we make our money. I'm pretty sure. That's like a pretty human emotion. But I think also the reality of the situation is, like, money cannot buy happiness. That's true. And real. However, wait, do you think there's a fire on the other side and we have to, like, light the fire on both sides of the bridge? I want to go see. I want to go see. Sorry if this is, like, backtracking for no reason, but I want to check. I'm not seeing it, no. But, like, that's all well and good, right? Like, principles are cool. But also, like, Money can't buy happiness as well. But I could solve a lot of my problems with money. It's true. And I could solve a lot of my friends' problems with money, too. I could solve a lot of my family's problems with money, too, you know? It's an important thing, money. You know, maybe not ideally. Maybe we would like money to be less important, but it is unfortunately incredibly important. And so, I think that, because here's the thing, right? It is, at the end of the day, just money, right? Like, it doesn't matter, as long as you get it legally, it doesn't really matter how you get it. It all spends the same. And I mean, hey, if you're like, I don't know, like wealthy enough, I suppose, if you're wealthy enough, I suppose, it might all spend the same, even if it's illegal. Do not commit financial crimes. This has been your daily reminder. Financial crimes are no good. We lit the fires. You love to see it. You also love to see that. That's pretty good. So I think yeah. I think if I could say one silly thing on a live stream and then be, like, set for life as long as I'm not stupid with my money, I think that would be, like, a generally good thing to do. I think that would be generally fine. Sure, I would be a little bit embarrassed. It's like, yeah, I made my money by saying Hawk Tuah on a street interview on the news. Like, sure. I'm a little embarrassed. But also, like, it's fine. I always feel like I'm drifting off to the left or the right side when I do this, and I have to, like, correct with the bird. That just feels amazing, doesn't it? Just that multiple chaining in a row. Alright, the bird decided to drop me at that altitude, fair enough. What the heck is that over there? Hold on. That's really cool, chat. Chat, that's really cool. That's cool. Chat, I'm allowed to ignore the plot for a moment, right? I want to go over there, but it's a good reason not to. One big fuzzy reason not to go over there. And listen, you might say, oh, don't be a baby, it's not that bad. Sorry, controller issue. Controller wired issue, controller skill issue, sorry. You might think to yourself, oh, it's not a very big deal. Reminder, I'm bad at that, and the last time I failed it, I lost a jump. So it's pretty important to not have that happen again. Just as, like, a little, you know, as a treat, you know? As, like, a little treat. It's Look Who It Is. The final obelisks are lit. You have brought back the light. When am I gonna get the moon bow? I'm a little concerned. Like, I don't mean to be rude, but if the only thing that can match the sun sword is the moon bow, I'm a little bit concerned. He will not surrender gently. Like, okay, I understand. You know, mother's love, you don't control who your children are, etc., etc. You are a god, you know what I mean? It's a little bit concerning that you would create, like, a murder child, you know? But just a little bit. This is Fortnite. We're dropping in on somebody so we can shoot them and take their loot. We gotta get that legendary bow. We gotta get that legendary bow, chat, or we won't get the victory royale. You ever think about victory royales? We need to stay on the ground. I mean, we're on the hunt, we're on the chase. Good UK game show, by the way. I kind of miss UK game shows a little bit. I mean... works for me. Alright, I see how it is. I'm just kind of expecting, like, if anybody was gonna, like, subvert my expectations, it would be like, while we're chasing Kumo, he would just turn around and just, like, run at us. If anybody was gonna do it, it would be the bear. I'm in hell. I played Final Fantasy XIV before I know how to dodge an AoE circle. Or do I? What's a snapshot? I'm assuming this game doesn't have snapshots, because why would it? No reason for this game to have snapshots. It would just, you know... Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I mean... I am playing this like Final Fantasy XIV, which is why I'm getting hit. It's like, nah, that's a snapshot I would dodge. Real. Oh, God. The thing is, a meteor could hit behind us if we run past it and we're too slow. Oh, my God. Okay, I didn't want to keep running anyway. It's my bad. You fool! I can stay in the air while I charge my bow. Alright, now we have the movie showdown in the, yeah, the lava pit, the volcano lava pit. Let's go! Oh yeah, I was gonna say, if you didn't want to freeze to death in the winter, why didn't you just stay near the lava cave? Ah. Bird's not flapping. Okay, fair enough. I didn't hit fast enough. It's okay. Oh god. Green management, green management. Oh. Bird up. The terrifying creature, the Sky Foogle. It sucks. Oh, I don't have to jump when he does that, do I? I'm jumping instinctually anyways. Oh, that's just a parry. It doesn't actually damage him. Okay, 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 okay. Oh. Why is that Phantasy Star Online coded? I don't know. Green management, green management. bird up. Listen, we're about to find out why there are, like, hooks that let you get back up here without the bird. We're about to find out. Oh my god, I just realized this thing, like, this design of Kumo makes me think of, like, that one Chaos form from Sonic DX. Oh god. Okay. I'm waiting for something! Oh, okay. I have no stamina. I think you have to parry the tail. I think you have to parry the tail. I'm waiting for it. Okay, I'm not afraid when I see that, because I know what to do there. Definitely the tankiest one, for sure. There we go. Parry and riposte. Okay, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. Maybe I have to charge up my arrows for them to do more damage. But I think they auto-charge. I mean, definitely the tankiest boss so far. If anybody was gonna slap you while you were doing the prayer move, if anybody was gonna put up an extra fight, it would definitely have been that guy. But I guess it was Sorrow? Or Sorrow who put up the most of the fight? Because Sorrow got back up. I've heard some bad things about you. I'm gonna back away slowly. I've seen the corpses. Like, you live in this land with your siblings and you'll kill anybody who worships your siblings in your land. I don't know, maybe you were, like, corrupted by the Godslayer or something. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. The Godslayer is not exactly a cool dude. Oh, hey, the corpses are right there, right next to your shrine. I remember reading that lore. Oh, hey, there's a shiny thing there. Oh, that's where I wanted to go. I remember the skeleton from that tower. Right, so let's try to figure out how to get this moon bow, if you don't mind. 'Cause I don't think we're doing jack or shit without... You have undone so much evil. The giant rail cannon. We're gonna bring this. I don't mean to be rude, but unless your son had the moon bow in his temple, press and hold flap while gliding to perform a super flap. Super jump. But like, I'm not gonna lie to you, we just read some lore about how, like, the only way to stop the Sun Sword was with the moon bow, and I haven't heard of the moon bow outside of that one area. So, you know, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but, like, I'm a little bit nervous going up here without the moon bow. Now, you could say the real moon bow were the friends that we made along the way. And I would say super jump. Wait. How are we supposed to do this? How are we supposed to do the super jump? How are we supposed to do the super jump? Because it was hold flap while gliding. Okay. Yeah, I understand it a little bit now. Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. Yeah, don't mind me just restoring all the flaps real quick. Also, look, there's a non-zero part of my brain that's like, oh, you're bullying the youngest god, you're bullying a child there. But also, like, that's a god, you know? You know what I mean? Also, I'm noticing that their evil forms are all on the totems. Did the Godslayer make those totems, or... Oh, shit, we're going. We're going, chat. Did the Godslayer make those totems, or... What's down there, I wonder? Or did the Godslayer corrupt them into their more mythological forms? There, I finished the sentence. Still no Moonbow. It would be really funny if the game was like, sorry, you didn't get the Moonbow in the random temple that you missed 4 hours ago. You die. I would respect it. Or if the Moonbow is like a secret unlockable that gave you like the best ending, or it made the final boss fight easier, I'd also respect that. Uh-oh. Yeah, I was just kind of running straight towards you. Bird down. Ah. That do be the Sunblade, though. Oh god, it's P3S all over again. Phoenix. Oh no, this is gonna be a stealth mission. Oh. We have to hide behind the rocks because we're gonna get burned. I already know. Yep. This is the tutorial. Because, oh no, we're so tired. Conveniently in the shade of these rocks, huh? I'm expecting to see, like, some fire breath or some. I'm expecting to see fire breath. Yeah. Yeah, it's when the bird comes around from the tower. So we're halfway before we're more than halfway before we see the bird come out from behind the tower again. I'm gonna camp here. Because we lost a lot of... No. I don't trust it. Make another round. Does the bird only attack if it sees us when it, Yeah, I think the bird only attacks if it sees us. Alright, we gotta wait, we gotta wait, we gotta wait. Stay in the shadow, stay in the shadow. Get as far as you can. Is this attack range? I feel like we puzzled it out as best we could, but I think we're gonna get owned here. I think this is too far away. I think this is cinematic. Oh, the bird would have come back around by now. I don't know if there's any strategy to this, or this is just run forward. Like, I want to wait, I want to wait, I want to wait. Like, I also don't see where we would take cover. I mean, we're in the shadow of the tower, but... Oh, hell yeah. Well. The bird... A good thing the bird's gone. Because it could definitely get me here. I thought that was the bird. I thought the flag in the wind was the bird. Oh, I got so scared. Alright, this is where we get the moon bow, right? I mean, I'm seeing medallions, so presumably. This is cool, though. I like the effect. Alright, we gotta get Bird up back, and then we can fight the God Slayer now that we have the bow. A little ominous. Hey, I need something to shoot so that I can, you know, regenerate my stamina. I'm regenerating stamina on my own! Incredible. I got hit earlier because I was like, holy. Okay, you got a counter. Okay, okay, I understand, I understand. Let me cancel my sprint for the love of God. Art. Oh. Oh my God. Oh, it has a hitbox. That's so funny. I should probably run right now. Please let me regenerate my sprint. I almost need to turn sprint as like a button hold for this. Because toggling it on and off is not very good. Oh, it makes little crescent moons whenever we shoot it. That's awesome. Yeah, you gotta jump right there, or you'll jump into the hitbox of the sword. Hey, that's not fair. I cleansed them all. That's not fair. You can't do that. Uh-oh. I feel like I need to jump off the stage. Take cover. Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Can I stop sprinting, please? I'm trying not to die so much. Oh god. Oh god. Thank God for the floaty jump. Come on. Uh-oh. Well, our health is generated. This is bad. I am a little sad that I got hit by that. I thought I made the jump. For the beef! Listen, if you're not gonna make me do AoE spreads or party stacks when the eagle does a dive bomb, you think you're gonna pass Phoenix? I cannot believe we jumped into the hitbox of the sword. Bro is left-handed. If he threw like a sucker punch while I was doing this, that'd be so cool. Video game rule of threes. You gotta fully charge the bow because it's more cinematic that way. I mean, it's not like the dude's still got like a sword and can teleport. Yo, you got 3 red eyes that I can shoot? Oh. Can we bird up? Oh, we've been cleansing this bird of corruption all game. Oh, it is time to do this. Where's the bird's cries? How will I know where to go? I like how they're incorporating all of the, like, basic game mechanics and, like, gameplay loops into the boss fight. I think that's really cool. Like how you have to activate the 3 towers of the bird. That's pretty good. Oh, we can whistle for the bird. Also, we haven't been together for that long, Bird. I would say that I'm still young and I guess new at this whole archery thing, you know? Just kind of picking it up as I'm going along. Every button calls the bird. Together you grew stronger. Isn't this the eagle talking? Or is this like the eagle mother talking and this is the reincarnation of the bird? And the reincarnation is a different person. We hit the invisible wall, by the way. I'm pretty sure this is an invisible wall, yeah. It's disguised really well, but I'm pretty sure we hit the invisible wall. This is like when you're in that one, like, water level in Little Goody Two Shoes, and you're just, like, wandering around forever. And then you just kind of walk up against a barrier, and you're like, oh, yeah. This is the edge of the map. And then sometimes you walk up against the barrier, and then I'm gonna shut up now. To be fair, I don't know what direction this is in. The bird! The bird! Yo, this is the Pantheon area that we saw earlier. I love the reflection in the water. Yo, this is the nest. Is it time to pet the bird for one last time? Alright, let's do it. Holy! We're a lot stronger now, by the way. I think that's guaranteed damage, but we're just, like, not. I mean, I think either the gods have given us their power, or they sacrificed themselves for us. We're just attacking that guy's eye specifically. The mortar strike. Left eye down. 2 to go. Bear down. Very difficult to tell what's going on, but thankfully you just gotta jump. This is what people think playing Final Fantasy XIV with all the special effects on looks like. Bird up. Damn, we shot them all.
Kivator. Jajike vaktu mazavafiru. Vaigu mazavaktusu. Jahaz tansenva. Vokara sur jasenva. Sifiru mazuke sha.
We are still cursed, unfortunately. And there's nobody to cleanse us, because if the gods could cleanse, they probably would have tried to do so already. Also, we might have just shot them at the God Slayer. Although the bird is still there. That's just a... Is that a normal feature in the island? Like, yeah. The floating island?
Va. Jajis azufara. Suja torso.
Wait, the world's gonna be restarted anyways? I thought that was what the Godslayer was trying to do, is to restart the world. Did he successfully destroy it? And then we're letting the reincarnation of the eagle, like, remake the world? Huh. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I am a little bit confused about that. But I mean, you know, all in all, great game. Really good. Glad it was recommended. Pretty fun. I don't know how long the credits are gonna be, but I'm gonna take my one earmuff of the headphones off so that I can concentrate on what I'm saying a little bit better. You know, I always really enjoy games like this that try to do something that is, like, new, I suppose, and not something that you see every single time you play, like, a movement-based game, or, like, an open-world game, or a, you know, etc., right? Like, they had an idea of what they wanted to do, they created a basic set of mechanics, and then they, like, had those mechanics basically, how do I put it? Whenever I try to, like, say something like this, it might come off as a little bit insulting, but it's like, they created a basic set of mechanics, and then they basically perfected it, or they, like, I for some reason can't think of the word, but they essentially used those mechanics in creative ways in order to give you new experiences that allowed you to basically see what the game could do with those mechanics in a reasonable way, right? Like, obviously, the only way you're ever going to see these mechanics pushed to their absolute limits is if they made, like, a hardcore mode, or if there was, like, a fan mod or something. But from what they created, they gave you a kit to work with, they gave you meaningful upgrades to that kit, vertical mobility, and then they basically just, like, that just existed throughout the game, and I think that the mechanics, like, they didn't really introduce anything new, they upgraded what you already had. And you don't need to keep introducing new things as long as your game is appropriately paced, and I think this one was. Because there's like a minimum amount of content that you have to do. There's more content you can do if you want to. And you can sort of take the puzzles and the challenges and the environments that you want, because you see them glowing in the distance, and then you head to them and you get a medallion. You get 2 medallions per tower. I think it worked out really well. Just because it was like, how do I put it? When you make a game, and this is an issue that I have with a lot of games that come out, and I don't want to use the credits as a way to, like, be mean to other games, but when a game comes out, it usually plays like a game that you've played, like, 15 different times before. And so when you get a game that has, like, a interesting and fresh idea for what it's supposed to be doing, and it has a very clear and concise idea of what it wants to do, and it doesn't do anything else, and it just, like, refines that formula that they created for themselves, I think that that is really clever. I think that's a really good idea, and I think it makes for a really good game, and I think it's one of the reasons why, these, like, AA games, or, like, indie games, I don't know the budget that this game had, right? But, like, AA games, indie games, lower budget games, whatever this game falls into, right? Or, like, you know, not, like, AAA $80 season pass, Fortnite battle pass, that sort of thing, you know? But when you have, like, a studio that's more independent, they have a clear idea of what they want to do, it shows that they have a clear idea of what they want to do, and they basically just try to refine this game into what their gameplay formula can be, and they did a bang-up job. And it makes these games more interesting to play than a lot of other games, because if you look at something like, I mean, like, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 just came out, right? Or whatever Call of Duty Black Ops we're up to now, right? You know, in 20 years, there might be a new Black Ops 6, and you could be watching this like, wow, that aged well. That literally came out yesterday. But, like, you know what I mean. Whatever Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is the newest one now, right? And that's just Call of Duty, you know? That's the same Call of Duty, the same first-person shooter, with minor tweaks that we've been playing for decades, you know? Like, obviously the games have gotten better, they've gotten more technically impressive, they have more content, they have more, like, whatever, right? But they are just, like, they don't innovate in any ways that feel real, outside of, like, this could be an expansion to, like, Black Ops 2, or whatever, or Black Ops 3, right? And maybe that is a little derogatory, I suppose, but you know what I mean? It's like, Far Cry 3 came out, it defined the genre, and then they made Blood Dragon, and Blood Dragon was really good, but it was basically just Far Cry 3, but an expansion of Far Cry 3, which, you know, is what it is. But then Far Cry 4 came out, And it was like, yeah, this is basically just like Far Cry 3, but better or worse, depending on your preferences. And then Far Cry 5 came out, and it's like, yeah, it's basically the same thing. It's better or worse, Far Cry 3, depending on your preferences. And it's like, when you see a game that is trying to do something different and fresh and new, because I haven't played a game like this before, that automatically holds a lot of value with me, and then they did it well. You know, they did it really, really well. The production value was good. The controls were a little bit janky, but they worked for exactly what they were going for. They didn't try to do anything that was, like, clunky, I guess you could say. Like, the only thing that felt clunky in this entire game was toggling sprint. And if you just held sprint, then that wouldn't be an issue. But I feel like for the more roaming open world-esque parts, you did want to have toggle sprint, just because that was at least easier on me. But for that boss fight specifically, I wish I had hold to sprint. But, like, honestly, it's just, like, they had an idea for the game that they wanted to do. And you could see, like, they didn't do any puzzles that were, like, specifically, like, out of, like, pocket. You know what I mean? Like, all the puzzles were, use your arrow to carry fire, or shoot your arrow through the hoops, or have the bird carry the weights, you know? Or, like, stand in a specific spot to do a specific thing, or have the bird move a mirror, or have the bird move a thing. You know, they had... It was a very simple and low amount of actions that you could take for a puzzle. It's almost sort of like how Metroidvania games, like, intuitively help you solve puzzles, because if you walk into a room, you have, like, 3 buttons that you can do at that current point in the game. You try all 3 of those buttons, you try all of your options. If those don't work, then you can just go and you can come back later when you have another button to press, or you have another option to use, right? And so with the Pathless, it's like they introduced all these puzzle types, and, you know, they were the same puzzle types throughout the entire game, but they got more intricate, or they were in different environments, or they required different, like, they required you to think about them in different ways. And I think that's a good thing, because the game's not too long, and the game adequately uses its puzzles and resources in the way that it should, honestly. And yeah, I think it was a pretty good experience. I liked it. It was fun. And it was also something that, you know, and again, maybe I'm harping on this a little bit too much because, you know, trying to keep it positive, but I am bored by a lot of games that come out. And that's not because they're bad or because I'm like a video game snob, but it's because I've played a video game like this 80 times already. And I've beaten, like, a game like this, like, 10 times already. What are you, as a developer, going to offer me as an experience that I can be like, that was an experience, you know? You either have to have a banger story, or you have to have some interesting gameplay. It doesn't have to be good gameplay, it just has to be interesting gameplay. And so, with the Pathless, good gameplay, compelling narrative. So as far as I'm concerned, they knocked it out of the park. It was quite enjoyable. So, anyways, thank you for watching. My name's been Webweaver, and thank you to the members for recommending this game. I will see you on the next episode of whatever you decide to watch next. Have a good one. Bye-bye.